Every generation there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is Cosmere Chronicles! The podcast we follow two first-time readers, Justin and Sheta, and we chronicle their journey through Grand Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling the Stormlight Archive, The Way of Kings, chapters 59 through 62. So now, let's get on with it and throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe! Thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone. My name's Joe, and this is Cosmere Chronicles. And just like last time, and assumedly just like the future times, I am joined by Sheta and Justin.
Well, hello, kids. How you doing today?
Hi.
Yep, we're here for our show this week. And, yeah, we'll start off with the usual with the random question. I didn't really think of one ahead of time, but you know what? I did have one. What's name your favorite fictional weapon? You know, like a sort of weapon in fiction, maybe like a named sword or something like that.
Well, that may be the easiest question you've ever asked. It is the BFG 9000 from Doom, obviously. That thing kills the fuck out of your enemies. Best weapon ever.
Is it the same in each Doom game, or do they slightly change them between each one?
The mechanics of it are a little different. It's not as strong in the new one as it is in the old ones, but it's still the most badass weapon in most of them.
In the movie version?
I don't remember how the movie version was. I remember it was supposedly in there. Oh, they called it a fucking Bioforce gun in the movie. Fuck that. It's the big fucking gun. We all know that's what it's
Bioforce.
Yeah.
That's the name. I was gonna say like a lightsaber, but I don't think that's very practical.
Well, you could say lightsaber and then pick out whose lightsaber.
Yeah, if you're specific, it works.
Well, yeah, I'll go with actually I'm gonna go with Sting. Frodo and Bilbo sword, but that's probably even less practical because there's not any orcs or goblins around.
What is this practical? You think I'm gonna take a BFG 9000 out when I rob a bank and kill everybody?
Yeah, well, I always think if I'm gonna pick any weapon, I want to be able to have it for if a zombie apocalypse happens, I could grab it real quick and it would be really useful.
Joe never once asked what's the most practical weapon. He asked what's your favorite weapon. The most practical weapon is called a pistol. It's very simple. It's
no way.
And Sheta, I will say, if you're trying to go practical, you should not go with Sting because you're not a hobbit. So that's going to be like a dagger.
Yeah, it's perfect size for me. But
honestly, as long as you don't cut your arm off, Sheta, a lightsaber, if you could train to use the weight of it, would be the best weapon for a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it would.
What are you talking about? It'd be so easy.
No. That's true. Okay, I will go with that. And I will go with Anakin / Luke's lightsaber.
/ Mara Jade.
I'm not. I never saw that. I'm not counting it.
Yes, you did. That happened at the end of The Last Command. You read that book.
Ew. I don't like that, Joe. That is Luke's lightsaber.
Would you rather say it? Would you rather I say / Rey?
Yeah, Sheta, you got to pick who you want holding the lightsaber.
Oh
You've
my
got
god!
Two continuities.
I wanted to have it when Luke had it. Okay, not any of those other times.
All right, and for me, one that I'm gonna go with, it's just one that I thought is just really cool, is the Sakaboto from Rurouni Kenshin, because it's a normal samurai sword except it's backwards. So the outside edge that you hit people with is actually the dull side, and the inside part is the sharp side. So not really a practical use, but it works for the character, for him trying to move away from violence and all that sort of stuff.
Do you just like backwards things so that people will be confused for a second? Just like your D&D book?
That is a deep cut reference no one will get, Sheta. You are playing to an audience of just us.
Well, if people want to know, so my copy of Xanathar's Guide, it's a misprint, so all the pages were upside down.
And he loves handing it to people without telling them that ahead of time, so they'll look like a moron for a second.
Well they're always there. It's When they're like, oh, does anybody have a Xanthos guide? I need to use it. Here, you can use mine. All right, open it. It's up. And yeah, pretty much. So the version, so I did have a version that was normal, but then I was at the game store where we play at, and they had gotten a copy in that was upside down. Someone noticed it, and I was like, talking to the owner. It's like, hey, could I just swap mine for that one? Mine's still like only a week old. It's like still brand new. So he's like, yeah, sure. So I got the upside down one.
See, so you wanted it.
Yes, I did. I'll take the misprint book. Though, hey, at times those misprints could be valuable.
I guess.
All right. So yeah, there's our fictional weapons. We only did one each. People out there, tell us your favorite fictional weapon. There's also probably some that we most likely did forget that we'll hear them and be like, ah, shit, I should have said that.
Like the Orgasmo gun. That's my second pick.
That's your second pick.
That's a powerful weapon, man.
Looks dangerous. Yep.
I was going to say something like a Keyblade, specifically like the Oathkeeper Keyblade.
There
or
are
the
some-
Keyblade. All right. So yeah, so there's all that. So now we're going to go over our last episode. We know it's been 2 weeks since the last time, but sorry, Sheta, it's your turn to recap chapters 57 and 58. Go.
Dang. Okay. Let's see. 57. Oh, I think Kaladin is all depressed, but then he's kind of like figured out that he can infuse Stormlight, and he's kind of like, what am I and stuff. And then he meets Hoyd out in the desert, and Hoyd gives him a flute and tells him a story, and kind of like the story helps him learn a lesson about himself. Anything else happen in that chapter? Did we see Dalinar in them? Or was that
No,
just
but
Kaladin?
there was a person that died at the very beginning.
Oh yes, poor Maps. Right? It's Maps.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
other stuff is mostly like we learn more about Syl and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Syl and Kaladin get into a fight too. Like their first couple fight. And then yeah, so Maps' death really affects Kaladin. He's kind of like, what am I gonna do in the long run and stuff to save all my friends and escape this? And then we're back to Dalinar and Sadeas, who are kind of like best friends again, and they're reading Way of Kings together, and Dalinar agrees to use Bridgman in their collab.
And Adolin?
Adolin starts to he's confused about trusting Sadeas because they're kind of friends now, and he kind of is starting to believe his dad's stuff he's saying. Yeah, he has a slight change of heart, and his perspective shifts. Oh, and he gets into that fight. The sparring or the dueling?
A duel.
Yeah. And he likes his new girlfriend a lot.
I think that's good. What do you say, Justin?
Not as good as I would have done.
I disagree with that. All right, so this week we continued Way of Kings. We have read chapters 59 through 62. So, typical question. What did you two think about these chapters this week?
I liked it because something significant happens.
I'm going to be honest. I'm starting to get kind of impatient. I want this desolation they keep talking about to come. I don't think it's going to come in this book, but I'm getting really eager to see just everything's going one way, and then the world just blows up all of a sudden.
They're like, it just farts and it's over.
Mm-hmm. However, they do finally start talking about some of that bigger plot stuff that they've only implied till now, so that's exciting.
Yeah. I think we got a lot of fun new info in these chapters.
All right, then. So let's get into the chapters. So starting off with chapter 59, An Honor. Epigraph. Above the final void I hang. Friends behind, friends before. The feast I must drink clings to their faces, and the words I must speak spark in my mind. The old oaths will be spoken anew. Subject, a light-eyed child of 5 years. Diction improved remarkably when giving sample.
Yeah, I fucking bet it did. That's no 5-year-old child. That was my favorite one because of that.
That was adorable.
adorable. The kid was dying.
Yeah, but I imagine him talking all proper like a epic grown person, you know? They have to get a really good child actor to do that.
So, we begin the chapter, and it's a Kaladin chapter. And Kaladin and Teft are in the barracks as Kaladin is attempting to take in Stormlight from a couple of spheres that he's holding. Lopen's at the door, just watching them, and the rest of Bridge 4, they're outside practicing running a bridge. And Kaladin is trying to command it, beg it, will it, but the Stormlight, it will not go into him. He has been trying this for a week to no success. Kaladin says that, maybe they were wrong and, what happened to him earlier was all just a trick of the light. And Teft asked him if he really believes that sticking a pouch to the side of the barrel was a trick of light. And Kaladin asks, well, if I'm a Radiant, then why can't I do this? Teft says that, it might be kind of like a baby learning to walk. And Teft admits that, he himself doesn't know anything about using Stormlight, but he just knows what should happen. According to the stories, Radiants, they could fly, walk on walls, melt stone by looking at it, move great distances in a single heartbeat, and command the sunlight. And Kaladin's questioning some of these. It's like, why would they bother both flying and walking on the walls? What's the point of that? Or why would they fly if they could travel great distances in a heartbeat? And Kaladin says that they cannot trust these stories or legends. And while they're talking, Kaladin calls himself a Radiant, but Teft says, no, you're not a Radiant. You can infuse and drink in Stormlight and then use it, but being a Radiant was a way of life. He tells Kaladin that he needs to say the immortal words. Life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination. Teft says that was their motto, and it's not a car.
I liked motto.
Teft said,
I wasn't gonna correct that. It sounded funny.
Teft says that was their motto, and was also the first ideal. He says that there are 4 ideals, but he doesn't know what they are. But he does know that the other 4 ideals were different for each order of Radiant. However, the first ideal is the same for all of them. And Teft goes on into more detail about the first ideal and how it's telling a Radiant how they should live. Kind of summarizing it, it's saying that they should seek to defend life and never kill unnecessarily. They protect the weak and use their strength for others. And, for them, protecting 10 innocents is not worth killing 1. How you lived is more important to the Almighty than what you accomplished while living. And he says there was some old king who came up with all this and had it all written in a book. And the Radiants based their ideals on what was written. And then Hishal's palanquin is carried to the barracks with her husband, Matal, walking right by it. So Bridge 4, they all come out and line up by the palanquin. And Hishal says that Kaladin, he has a well-trained band, and they are very efficient. And Kaladin says that, he hasn't seen Gaz for a few days, and asks if Gaz is well. And Hishal just answers no, and does not elaborate on that.
That was so sad.
God.
Answer that, and Kaladin doesn't really push any further, because at the end of the day, he doesn't care that much about Gaz. It's very sad.
Jeez. He's just in a ditch somewhere.
I don't think so.
What do you think happened to him?
I think that I think it's something to do with his black eye or what he sees in the shadows. I think he's being seized by something that's coming, whatever's building that we talk about a bit later.
Really?
Yeah, that's my theory. I think something supernatural is happening with him, but I'll elaborate on that later. But that's, my thought. Otherwise, why would they make such a point of him disappearing from the story? It seems like they wouldn't do that.
Like, oh, he's just dead. Like, you think it's a bigger deal?
Yeah, I don't think that it's just, oh, he's sick, or, oh, he secretly tried to save you guys or some shit like that, It could be, but I'd be surprised. I think it's something to do with the little, part they did earlier where he saw something in the distance, and the fact that I can never remember her goddamn name. It's not Sari.
Sue?
Shallan, yeah.
Oh.
Her seeing those things, them getting closer to her, whatever it is, kind of getting closer, to the world with the storms happening more and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then Hishal just goes back to what she was saying before, and she says that her husband has made a decision. And since Kaladin and his crew are so good at bridge runs, now they will be on duty every single day. So throughout the day, if they need to sleep, they can sleep, but they're on bridge duty. So if there's a bridge run, they're going to have to get up and do it. And if they do wind up doing a bridge run in the day, then they will do chasm duty that night. She says that his crew is just too good and that they should consider this an honor. And after Hashal and her husband leave, the bridgemen complain that they will see them dead. Tef says they still need a few weeks to be trained in order to escape, but they do not have a few weeks now. Just one bad run for them, and it will be all over. Kaladin says that he knows, and he takes a deep breath. And then Lopin says it's happening again. And Kaladin looks at his arms, and he can see the little bit of luminescent smoke rising from it. Kaladin asks what he did, and Tef suggests that maybe it happened because you were angry. Kaladin says he was angry before, and it didn't work. And Syl says that you breathed it in. And then Kaladin tells Tef to gather the men, and they're going to go down to the chasm. And then he looks over at Syl, and he tells her that he needs her to go find some Parshendi bodies when they go down there. Once they are in the chasm, Kaladin gets the men started training with their spear training. And once they're going, he leaves Teft in charge, and he goes off and follows Syl as she leads them to where she found some Parshendi bodies. On his way through the chasms, he's looking down at the ground at all the Alethi bodies, and he thinks about how the men, they're supposed, with their religion, what they're supposed to do, they're supposed to perform their calling well, and if they do well enough, then they are chosen to continue the battle to help the heralds take back the tranquiling halls after they die. And like, for instance, like a farmer in life, if they go there, they would then be able to make great fields of food, just like a snap of their fingers. A warrior, they would be able to like cause thunder with their shield and lightning with their spear. But then Kaladin wonders, what does that mean for a bridgeman? Would they be taken and then just forced to run bridges in the afterlife too?
That would be the funniest afterlife ever.
You've done so well. Now keep working.
Mm-hmm.
And Kaladin, he thinks about how if Bridge 4 escapes, then Sadeas is just going to replace them with others. He tells himself that the other bridgemen are not his concern. But if he flees, then the other bridgemen will be slaughtered. There has to be something he can do for them. But he thinks that if he worries about that, then he will not be able to save Bridge 4. But if he leaves, then he will fight for the other bridgemen. Nobody cares. He thinks about what his father had told him. His father, he did what he felt was right because someone had to start. Someone needs to take that first step. And then Kaladin, he's carrying a sphere. He feels a warmth in his hand and he breathes in, and the sphere in his hand grows cold. He looks at it and it's now done. And Kaladin, he's holding his breath and he has no need to breathe now. And if he doesn't breathe, then he's able to keep the Stormlight trapped in him and it escapes from his body slower. And with the Stormlight in him, he can feel a storm within him. And he thinks about how Teft had said that men would be able to run on walls and stuff. So Kaladin runs at a wall and jumps into it feet first, and then he just falls onto his back on the ground. Yep.
Even though that's the obvious way for that to go, I really thought he was going to get up that wall.
Then he did a good job.
Yep, and Syl comes over and she's like, "What are you doing?" I thought I could run up it. And she says that she doesn't think he's ready for that yet. And she tells him not to be risky, because if he dies, then she goes stupid again. So now Kaladin, he arrives at those Parshendi bodies, and he has Syl go fetch Lopin for him. And Kaladin, he thinks about how the Parshendi treat their dead, and he begins using a knife to cut off the carapace armor. Yep, Lopin arrives with a sack, and from inside the sack, Kaladin pulls out like some leather armor that was in the bag and like a spear, or no, not a spear, a shield. And he begins like strapping the carapace armor to the leather armor. He starts strapping some like Parshendi bones onto the shield and everything like that. And after he finishes doing all this, they head over to the lower part of the chasm where they have that bridge. They typically shoot the arrows up with pouches. While they're walking, Lopin's just talking and stuff about random shit. And then he just freezes. And they can hear a deep grinding sound. Kaladin turns slowly, and he can see something enormous moving down a distant chasm. It goes out of sight, and the scraping grows quieter and eventually fades. And Syl asks, "What's going on?" And Kaladin says there's a chasm fiend. And she says, "Oh, you should chase it and fight it then." He's about to talk back to her, but he sees the amusement in her eyes and can tell she's joking.
I wonder if she is, because she says, "Oh, you're not ready to walk up walls yet." That really makes me wonder if she kind of has more of a sense of just how powerful these abilities are going to make him or not.
I mean, yeah, she probably knows.
Mm-hmm. But if she is joking, I mean,
Well, she said he wasn't there yet, so probably joking.
hmm,
Well, do you think Kaladin could fight and defeat a Chasm Fiend right now?
I think if you put him to the wall and gave him superpowers, he could do something. He could survive it. Whether he could beat it or not is hard to say.
So, Kaladin and Lopin, they continue on their way, and then they reach that bridge. And Kaladin's looking up, thinking about how he needs to, because he has a rope and stuff that Lopin brought him, and he thinks about how to get up there. He contemplates like shooting an arrow up, but neither of them's rock, and they don't really want to miss the bridge. And so Kaladin has Lopin collect a lot of fist-sized rocks and puts them in like a little pouch for him. And then Kaladin, he says the first idea, and it breathes in Stormlight. He takes one of the rocks, presses against the wall, and just infuses Stormlight into it. He wasn't sure how he did it, but it just felt natural while he did it. So now this stone stuck to the wall, he steps on it, and it's able to stick there and still hold his weight and everything. So he takes out another stone, infuses that one, and keeps doing that, and begins climbing up the wall. And it's roughly about 40 feet from the ground to that bridge. Eventually while he's climbing, he can start hearing the lower stones falling and hitting the ground because they're running out of Stormlight now. Eventually, Kaladin, he gets up to the bridge, he takes out the rope, ties it to the bridge there. Then he goes out and he's hanging from the rope. Drops it down, and he has Lopin tie the sack to it. Kaladin pulls the sack up, and he takes that sack and he ties it to the short part of the rope from where he tied it onto the bridge. And now Kaladin's just hanging up there at the bridge. He's trying to figure out a way how to get down. And Syl just tells him, just cut the rope. He says that's a 40-foot fall, and even if he survives, he will break some bones. But she tells him that, no, I feel right about this, and that he needs to trust her.
Oh, God.
So after a little bit of back and forth, Kaladin decides, cuts the rope, and he falls. And at first he's getting kind of worried when he begins to fall, but then his emotions calmed, and he somehow knew what to do. He turns, he lands, on his feet, hand on the ground, and he could just feel Stormlight just come out of him in like a big burst. And Lopin just says, that was incredible. And Kaladin asks Lopin if, with that sack tied on the bridge, if he'll be able to grab that for them without being caught. Lopin says that, the soldiers and everybody, they ignore Herdazians, they ignore bridgemen, and they ignore cripples. So he is pretty much invisible to them. So Kaladin tells them to get that sack and hide it, and to give it to him right before they begin their final plateau assault. Kaladin says, the army and stuff, they're not going to like that, and this won't turn out any different from what you tried before. Kaladin just pretty much says, we'll see. And that's the end of that chapter.
I don't care how much I trust that fairy. If it says just let go, oh, man.
Justin, that's what faith is.
Yeah, I guess so.
Also, he does have multiple, weeks, months connection with her, so.
I don't care. I can't believe he went up there without his plan on how to get down, too.
That's how you, I think that's, this scene kind of reminded me of, when Spider-Man was testing out his powers, then climbing up the
side but he didn't
building.
Jump off a bridge immediately after.
That part reminded me of, well, not that part, but when he fell off the wall when Toby did that too, and he fell.
Justin, he didn't jump off a bridge, but he shot a web and began swinging without any sort of plan and smacked into a wall.
That's true, but he did work himself up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Needless to say, Justin, with you saying you wouldn't listen to Syl and drop, I'd say you'd be a terrible superhero.
100%, yes. You don't be Spider-Man if you've got a fear of heights, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. You gotta take that first jump.
Yeah, not my nature.
Is there a superhero with a fear of heights? I feel like that's something that somebody had to have written at some point.
Probably.
All right. So I need to ask you, when you read this chapter with Kaladin, collecting the carapace and the bones and stuff, did you know what he was going to do?
I hoped that he was going to do what I've wanted him to do I think we talked about this on a previous episode.
Yeah, we did. When they talked about the shell or armor of the Parshendi being attached to them, I really thought they were going to take it off and use it.
Start wearing it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's a bit gross, isn't it?
It is, but, people do that with turtle shells and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Wear
So.
turtle shells, yes, very often.
I don't know. Maybe they do in old timey times.
Yeah, because I think what was it? Like the first time they saw Kaladin saw the carapace, you both were like, you could always put it on and stuff, but then you're like, oh, it's kind of gross. And then when Nick was on here, you guys were more joking about it, being like, with the Parshenni getting so angry, they could just like wear their bones or something, and all had a laugh.
Yeah.
But we were serious too.
All right. Anything else from this chapter either of you two want to go over?
I was wondering if Stormlight not only helps him physically, but if it helps him think too. Like, does it help him think better and come up with good plans and stuff?
Yeah, like faster.
Yeah, like it just improves everything. Because right after he infused some light, he came up with this plan, or he kind of snapped out of his worry and stuff, But I don't know. I think it was interesting that we found out he is not a Radiant, and I thought that was what Tef described. Like, you have to learn all these things they follow, and that it is actually important to know that stuff to be able to be considered a Radiant. And I just thought it was like how force sensitive people are not Jedi. They just are force sensitive.
I get you, yeah.
So like you need to learn these things to be able to fully use all the powers correctly and stuff like that.
Tap into them, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't think when you were saying that of them needing to use that stuff to like channel them. I wonder.
I thought that it might be a more literal too, because how these powers are used seem like how they can be used seem very specific, like how Shallan had to figure out how to use the Fabrial. Like it wasn't just like you feel it and then you kind of poop it out or something, like you have to really go somewhere and think specific things, or like I just wonder how much of that is very literal in the immortal words and stuff, And if the words are like spells almost that let you do different things, like fly or teleport and stuff like that. Like, so I just want to know that stuff. And I wonder if there's any chapters in The Way of Kings that have that stuff, or in another book or something that has that stuff.
I think it's really interesting to watch the these bottom of the barrel people are aware of the Way of Kings book, or Teft is a little bit, and he's just like, it's in some book. He has no real context for it. Meanwhile, you've got the guy at the top who just has access to the book anytime he wants to look through. I think that's really interesting.
There seems to be a lack of communication with all the people who live here. Like, some people have this side of the knowledge and some people have the other side, and they're not talking and figuring out what they need to do, like spiritual side and the literal like word side. Like, you need to know both, and
that's
they
interesting.
Don't know.
That down here you get the spiritual side easier because your life sucks so much, but up top you have so much trouble deciphering the spiritual side. Is that it?
They keep looking for it in the books, but you're not gonna really get that from a book, So yeah, just interesting. I really want to know that already. If we are gonna know it by the end of this book. What's all from me?
All right, so this chapter was called An Honor. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Because it was a great honor what they've earned here, and they should be more thankful for it.
The honor to sacrifice their lives?
To die in service of your glorious leader.
Yeah. I think that, and I also think that it's an honor to be a Radiant, and you need to think of it that way instead of something that you're entitled to. And maybe Kaladin needs to learn that.
All right. So now we will go on to our next chapter. Chapter 60. That which we cannot have. Epigraph. The death is my life. The strength becomes my weakness. The journey has ended. Subject. A scholar of some minor renown. Sample collected secondhand. Considered questionable.
See, that one's interesting. That gets me wondering if this entire, like, the way they've interpreted these old words is actually a bad thing, Because
Like
he
it's
says, like, it's the reverse, my life becomes death. Can you read it one more time? I don't have the book in front of me.
The death is my life. The
Yeah,
strength
so the
becomes my
death is my
weakness.
life. The strength becomes my weakness.
The journey is
And
ended.
the journey is ended. That makes me think of how the guys at the beginning of the book kind of felt about their eternal life and rebirth thing, Like they just exist to go out and suffer, and
Mhm.
and then this kind of like life before death thing, it's not like how it is for us where it's optimistic, like I'm going to live before I die, It's more like I'm going to die over and over. It's going to be fucking awful. Then I'm going to be forced back to living again, So my life is my death. There's no thing. My strength is my weakness because I'm forced to keep doing this cycle. Like if I was weak, I
Because
could just be protected,
yeah.
And then like yeah, it just makes me wonder if these old words actually have a dark connotation to them that our characters don't have because they're living in a different time or something like that. Because the fact that there's three other things that are said that nobody remembers, or no, they have that in the book, don't they? Right? It's just
Mm.
Teft who doesn't
Yes.
really know. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So, anywho, I wonder if there's a different reading of some of these things based on what we saw at the beginning of the book. That's the point of what I'm saying.
I
It
I
just
didn't
really
think of
makes me
it.
scared.
I thought that this was like, well, obviously this is anti-life, and
Yeah.
what is affecting this person is death. Like
Mm,
to say those things specifically and directly. I feel like it's this person has fallen or succumbed to death or anti-life.
hmm
Like,
hmm Yeah. That there's a force that works against the philosophy of the Radiance that tries to go the other way and pervert it, correct?
mhm.
Yeah, and the fact that they say the source is questionable, I think that's a way to say like, oh, maybe this is a mistranslation of what the words are supposed to be, but I don't think so.
They're like, wait, that's not how it's said. So we'll just
hmm
say question mark.
Yeah, because something happened with like they did give up back in the day, So I do
Mhm.
wonder.
all right. So now this chapter, it's a Dalinar chapter, and we're beginning with Adolin finishing up an explanation for why his father should not abdicate. And Dalinar agrees with him. He doesn't tell Adolin that he had already decided against abdicating, but Dalinar does say that he will still draft an order and have it witnessed by Elhokar. This order will give Adolin the right to depose him if he should grow too mentally unstable. They won't let the other camps know about this, but Dalinar will not risk letting himself grow too crazy that it is impossible to remove him. Adolin says that he's alright with that as long as they don't let Sadeas know. Adolin still does not trust him. And Dalinar tells Adolin that he needs to believe that Sadeas is capable of changing. And in this room, Navani and Renarin are also in here because a high storm's about to hit, and Navani, she's been there recording, Dalinar's visions. And Adolin says he doesn't care if Sadeas is now listening to the Way of Kings. He thinks that Sadeas is just doing this as a way to manipulate Dalinar. Dalinar says that, hey, if I can reforge an alliance with Sadeas, then it's worth nearly any cost to do that. And Dalinar, goes on and he says that Adolin, he should also take extra care, paying attention to the King's Guard. Make sure we have people loyal to us in there. And Adolin asks if Dalinar is really giving credence to Elhokar's fears. Dalinar says that, something odd did happen with Elhokar's armor and those gems being dead. Navani says that she never really cared much for Sadeas when he, Dalinar, and Gavilar were friends. And Dalinar
Based.
says that
That made me like her a lot to just specifically come out and say that.
Dalinar says that Sadeas is not behind the attacks on Elhokar. Sadeas had never really wanted the title of king. He always preferred the power that came with being a high prince, and he also liked it because he was able to not take the blame for large-scale mistakes. Sadeas had never tried to seize the throne from Gavilar, and nowadays he's even better positioned with Elhokar. And Navani says that that's because her son is a weakling. Dalinar says no, he's not weak, he's just inexperienced.
Man, Navani's saying everything that I think in this chapter.
And then Renarin asks Navani about this fabrial that she's wearing on her shoulder. It's one that has like little like spikes and stuff she has on her shoulder. We saw it a number of chapters ago. She was showing off the same thing during a feast to some other women. And she looks down at that fabrial with a sly smile, and Dalinar could tell that she was just waiting for someone to ask her about it. She takes it off and she calls it a pain reel. And she had a hand in its construction. She asks if anybody has like an injury. Adolin, he has a muscle in his hand that he had pulled. So she takes it, she puts it on that muscle, and it just removes the pain from Adolin's hand while also not numbing his hand. Renarin watches this with interest, and Dalinar thinks that if only he could be persuaded to become an Ardent. Whenever they asked him, he always refused, and his reasons always seemed like poor excuses. And Navani says that she thinks that this sort of fabrial has a lot of potential. Just imagine this sort of thing on the battlefield or the hands of a surgeon.
I can't believe they invented magical aspirin here. I was very impressed.
And Navani says this is a special time to be alive, and that they are learning all kinds of things about fabrials. If only these guys could see the plans that they have for the future. Adolin asks, like shard blades? But Navani says no. The working of shard blades and shard plates are completely different than anything that they have discovered. The closest things are those half shards that the Yakaved have made, but those are made from a completely different design than shard plate. And Dalinar says that, he has seen, them in the past, and that shard blades are ancient. But whenever he's been in the past, the rest of the technology back there is just primitive. The shard blades and shard plate just look out of place with what everyone else has. And he considers that perhaps they were given directly to the people by the heralds, like legends say. And Navani begins saying something, but then Dalinar is immediately sent into a vision. And he's in a place that looks faintly familiar. And he's there and he's talking with a man. And the man says that they are never ready for the desolations. They should be getting better at resisting, but each time, they just wind up taking a step closer to destruction. He says that their own natures destroy them. Alakavish was a surge binder, and that he should have known better. But the Nahelbond gave him no more wisdom than a regular man. Alas, not all Spren are as discerning as Honor Spren. Dalinar's hearing all this, and he's just wondering what a surge binder is. But he can't just come out and ask this guy that, because that would sound out of place, because who he's supposed to be already knows that. So he tries asking some leading questions to get him the answers he wants. And through these, the man says that Alakavish proves that the allure surge binders have for the common people. They need to be better, and if only there was a way to encourage them. The two of them step out onto a balcony, and Dalinar looks out into the landscape, and it's covered in thousands of corpses. And he recognizes this area as Kholinar, like a very ancient Kholinar. And in with all those bodies, he also sees some rock shapes, and he realizes that those aren't just random rocks. Those are large stone creatures. And Dalinar asks what happened here, and the man says that the desolations were named well. There's been 11 years of war, and the initial counts say that 9 out of 10 people are dead. He says that the kingdom of Sur is gone, and that Tarma and Elise most likely won't survive. And Dalinar has never heard of those kingdoms, so they didn't.
Oh, that's sad.
Yep, and the man, he says that people are blaming, Alakavish for this because, if they had not gone to war before this desolation had even come, then they might not have been broken this badly.
That would be good incentive to unify the people, huh?
Yeah.
He wonders what the heralds will find when they return again. Are they going to find a world that's torn apart by war and just squabbling? And Dalinar, he hasn't seen any radiance around, so he thinks that this vision might be before his other ones and would be before the radiance were founded. And as the man talks, Dalinar begins to recognize the way that he's talking and figures out that this man has to be Noadon. He tests this by quoting a passage from the Way of Kings, which the man then finishes and says that Dalinar is using his own phrases against him.
I thought that was dangerous. I was like, you're gonna do a time thingy where
Well, we know he's not time traveling because we've seen him affect things and nothing happens from it, Yeah,
but we don't know the rules exactly.
I suppose.
I was like, is Dalinar gonna be become Noadon? Like,
Well, Dalinar hasn't watched Back to the Future yet, Sheta, so he doesn't know
yeah,
the rules.
time travel rules.
There's no temporal prime directive.
Mhm.
All right, and Noadon says that he is considering giving up his throne, but Dalinar tells him no. He says that the people need a leader. And Noadon says that people have leaders. There are princes, kings, soulcasters, and surge binders. And Dalinar, he looks at Noadon, who's looking out onto the city, and Dalinar says that he knows that feeling. The uncertainty, the shame, the confusion. He says that he himself has felt them, and he had never assumed that Noadon had felt these same things. And Noadon asks, well, what should I do then? I don't have faith in people anymore. If I gather them together, then they'll just find a way to fight against one another. How do I protect them and stop this from happening? Dalinar says, well, you should dictate a book then to explain your philosophy on leadership. And Noadon tells him that is a stupid idea. The world has almost been destroyed. All their best men are dead, and they only have enough food to last them like 2 to 3 months. And Noadon also asks, well, who would scribe it then? All of his wordsmiths were slaughtered when Yelignar broke into the chancery. He's like, the only wordsmith I have left is you. But you're missing an arm. And Dalinar looks at his arm, it's still there, so it's like Quantum Leap, where Sam Beckett was there himself, but everyone saw him as whatever he was supposed to be.
Well, he hasn't watched Quantum Leap yet either.
We don't know that. That has not been confirmed.
That has not been confirmed. You don't argue Back to the Future, but he may have watched Quantum Leap.
Yep, he may have. And one thing that surprises Dalinar with this is the fact that Noadon used the word wordsmen. Not women, but men. Noadon says they need to rebuild. He needs to find a way to convince the other kings not to try to take advantage over one another. He cannot write a book. This is a time for action, and unfortunately, a time for the sword. And that phrase surprises Dalinar, hearing, Noadon, where he just knows him for his philosophy, talking about using a sword. After Noadon leaves, Dalinar speaks out to whatever it is that's showing him these visions, and asks, what did he decide to do? Did he unite them as he wanted? And then Dalinar says out loud, a phrase from the Way of Kings, to be human is to want that which we cannot have. And then the vision ends, and Dalinar's back in his rooms, and he says, well, that was meaningless. I learned nothing. And immediately, Navani asks him, what was the last thing you said in your vision? Word for word, what did you say? He tells her what she said, she writes it down, then she goes over to some of Yasna's books that Yasna had left with Dalinar. And Navani says that when Dalinar goes into his visions, he still speaks. Dalinar's like, yep, I just speak gibberish. And Navani takes a book that's on there, opens it up, and she reads a line from the book. Renarin says, that sounds kind of like what Dalinar was saying. Navani tells him, no, it doesn't sound like what he was saying. This is the exact same phrase that he had said. Navani had been writing down, the quote-unquote gibberish that Dalinar had been saying through his vision because she thought it might be useful. And she says that this line that he said at the end is a line from this song. It's a very old song that has been passed down, through the ages. It was originally written in the Dawn chant by the heralds themselves. Nowadays, they still have the words, but what the words mean, they've lost all meaning. And Dalinar, he just spoke a line from that song, and he translated it. She says that one sentence isn't much, but this could lead to them being able to translate the entire script. And this stuff with the Dawn chant, that had been mentioned a couple times earlier in the book, including I think one of Yasna's notes just being man, if only I had a way to translate the Dawn chant.
Yep, we've got our route for Yasna to come enter the story now.
I'm surprised she's not here yet.
What would she be here for? She's busy up there.
Well, she's not now that her mom's here, filling that same role,
Mm-hmm.
And Navani had thought that what Dalinar had been saying during his visions just sounded like too much order for it to simply be gibberish. And now he may have cracked one of the most perplexing and ancient mysteries of all time. Adolin asks what this means, and Navani says that they now have proof. Adolin suggests that, maybe Dalinar just heard that phrase at some point. And then Navani just responds and extrapolated an entire language from it. She says that what Dalinar is saying is not gibberish. It's an ancient language that nobody speaks anymore. So unless there was a different way that Dalinar was able to learn to speak a dead language, then this means that these visions are most certainly real. Then she asks Dalinar to repeat everything that he remembers saying in the vision. Every little bit will help the scholars. And that's the end of the chapter.
I like how the guys really don't have any sense of what a big deal this is. They're pretty much like, well, yeah, whatever. And she's like, this is one of the most important discoveries in all of our history. Like, to be able to uncover an entire thing, like, you guys out here on the battlefield don't understand. This is huge. One of the biggest things ever. It's just very funny to me.
They're like, well, I've never heard of it, like
Yeah.
it's not it's not their job to know anything like that. Funny. They're just like, oh, okay. What does that mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, basically, yeah. I like her just saying, well, we know it's true now. We know it's real. So, like, how is that relevant to what I care about, basically?
Yeah.
Like this sort of thing. I remember I've read about this on like one random day Wikipedia dive, but I had to look it up. It's like called like the Voynich manuscript. It's this old thing that it's written. There's no way to translate it though. People have no idea what it actually is. It's been carbon dated to the early 15th century, and it's believed to have been composed in Italy during the Renaissance.
Wait, what is this?
This is like in real world, like this book manuscript thing that would have been from like the early 15th century. It's written in a language that's dead, but there's no way to translate it because there's no like sort of key or code to translate it to whatever it's supposed to be. So having like this book that's written in a dead language you can't translate is similar to like this John chant being something they have.
I see. Yeah, I see.
Anything else about this chapter either of you two want to go over?
I'm very excited to see where this goes. This seems like it's gonna get the story moving really, really fast. Because we'll talk about that in the next chapter. But yeah.
And this chapter was called That Which We Cannot Have. So why do you believe that was chosen for a chapter title?
Well, it's the line. That's the line in the song or in the chant, right? And yeah, I can't think of what else it could be.
Metaphorically?
Yeah.
Peace. You cannot have peace. There's my pitch.
All right. So moving on. Next chapter. Before the chapter began, there was another little bit of artwork. Put it here because there's another one that had all the, image of like a hand wearing like a fabrial, and it's all sorts of women's script on there. And like the last one, like I'd said, someone had been able to translate this within a month of the book coming out. Essentially, it's talking about how this fabrial works. There's multiple little gems on it, and the different ones light up depending on what emotions you're feeling. There's some examples like showing like for a woman who had been proposed to, like the feelings she felt was anticipation, love, surprise. Or a man who discovered his betrothed lied to him. The emotions he was feeling was disgust, love, and fear.
Oh, I like these. They're like mood rings, but more specific. If I was any kind of like metal worker, I would try to make these bracelets. It's like, buy this for your friend who got betrayed.
You mean in universe you'd try to?
No, in real life.
Oh.
I still might try to make them. I think it's interesting. I like this kind of stuff in real jewelry, so I think it's interesting to do it like this. Like these gems mean, I don't know, friendship or love or something. That kind of thing.
Like the bottom it says, the trick of the emotion fabrial is first learning to read it, and second, learning to tell if the bracelet is reading your emotions, your subject's emotions, or the emotions of the people in the next room. All right, so now the next chapter, chapter 61, Right for Wrong. Epigraph. In the storm I awaken, falling, spinning, grieving. Subject was a city guardsman. So the chapter begins, and it's a few hours later, and Dalinar, Navani, and Renarin are discussing Dalinar's vision. Mostly it's Dalinar and Navani talking. Renarin's supposed to be there to, keep everything proper. And Dalinar says that he is sure the person he had seen in it was Noadon. Navani suggests that maybe it could have just been some other king since he turned down the idea to write that book. But Dalinar says, no, it's just that it wasn't the time to write the book. 9 out of 10 people had just died in a war. And Dalinar asks if Navani knows about historical references to the Desolations. She says that Yasna is the historian and she's more the one to ask that sort of thing. And she says that Desolations, they're kind of now just ancient lore. She says that what Dalinar is saying with, speaking this old Dawn chant, that will be the proof that makes it so that people cannot dispute his visions. Dalinar thinks that even though the visions are real, he doesn't know who is the one that's sending them. It could be a force that's trying to mislead him. He doesn't know if he
I'm so
trusts them
glad
or not.
somebody finally brought that up. I was so worried about that the twist of this book was going to be that he was just lied to the whole time. Now that he says that, I'm thinking that is not, and I'm very glad because I think that would have been a really lame twist.
You're always paranoid about that.
Mm-hmm. No, I am now. I also like the little shout out to a previous book with that.
Yeah, like we're all like kind of like paranoid now after reading a couple books. We're like,
he has to know it's
what's
on
that
people's
twist?
minds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not what you're thinking or what you're scared of.
Navani says that the war camps speak of Dalinar's episodes already, and this will vindicate him. And Dalinar says he doesn't know if it will, because this speaks too close to prophecy, and their religion's against seeing the future. But Renarin points out that he's not seeing the future, he's seeing the past, so it should be alright. And Navani says that tells Dalinar that his sons had told her that he had sought out the old magic. So she asks what he asked of the Night Watcher, and what was the curse that he was given. He says that his shame is his own, and he will not share it. It was a long time ago, and long before his visions began, so he says that they're not related. But Navani says, well, it could be related. And Dalinar thinks, will that day never stop haunting him? Wasn't losing all memory of his wife enough? And he wonders if Renarin would condemn him for such an egregious sin.
I have a suspicion Renarin kind of guesses what happened to his dad. Like, I don't know why I imagine a conversation about his mom he had with his dad, and his dad's just like doesn't remember. So he's kind of like, oh, all right, something's weird. But, he's pretty smart, so I bet he figured it out already.
I think this lets credence. Was it your theory, Sheta, that he'd done something for Renarin? Or was that mine or somebody?
That was yours.
I don't remember. That was mine? Oh, well, then this
Yeah.
lends credence to my theory. That he'd wonder if Renarin would forgive him. And the reason for that would obviously be that, he did something for him.
Yeah, we don't know enough about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not even how long ago his wife died.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it when Renarin was born, or was it like 3 years ago?
My guess is she died in childbirth, and then he was in danger of dying too, so he did something with that.
Yeah, maybe he could just save only his wife or his baby.
I don't believe that because I don't know about that.
Oh, okay.
Could be.
And the Night Watcher flipped a coin and is like, all right, if it's heads, it's gonna be your wife lives and you forget about your boy. And if it's tails, you forget about your wife.
Renarin says that he has studied the old magic recently, and this does not feel like the work of the Night Watcher. She always gives one curse and one desire. And he asks Dalinar, do you know what both of these are? And Dalinar says, yes, I do. Dalinar says that
here because Renarin actually did something. I feel like he hasn't done something for this entire book.
Yeah. He's a real mystery, which is why I'm a little still suspicious of him.
Don't trust him.
Yeah. Secret villain.
Dalinar says they don't know if his visions are coming from the Almighty or not. But something wants them to know about the Desolations and the Night's Radiance. And they should ask why that is. And so Renarin asks Navani what the Desolations are. She says that, they are mentioned in the myth of Persephone and Nardis. In it, pretty much Persephone had to repopulate her fallen people, and the beginning of the story mentions that the Desolations as having wiped out her people. Navani says the Desolations, they were wars. The Voidbringers came again and again, trying to force mankind off Roshar and into damnation. Dalinar asks about the Night's Radiance, and suggests that the visions could be trying to make him trust them when he shouldn't. Because they've only shown them as good people and stuff like that, but they're known to have betrayed mankind. But Navani says that nothing in his visions have gone against what they already know about the Night's Radiance. The legends all agree that they weren't always bad. They just eventually turned bad and turned on mankind. Dalinar says that he needs to think on this and asks to be left alone. So Renarin leaves. Dalinar goes over to the door. He's standing by it, and down outside the door, you can see the soldiers. So it's like, all right, good. People can still see us, so it's fine with me and Navani. Navani goes over to him, and she asks, isn't he pleased that he now knows that he's not going mad? But Dalinar responds that, he doesn't know if he's being manipulated or not now. But Navani says that the visions are a blessing. She can feel it. Right now, with him seeing all this stuff in the past, he's experienced things that historians and scholars could only dream about seeing. And she asked him if he meant what he said earlier about trusting her. He doesn't remember saying that, but she said that he did not trust his clerks and asked her to record his visions. So it's the same as saying that he trusted her. And she has her hand on his arm, and she puts her other hand onto the door and begins to shut it.
Ooh.
Dalinar almost stops her, but then hesitates, and she fully shuts it. Dalinar says that no, this isn't proper, and brings up his brother. And then Navani gets upset because everyone always focuses on Gavilar. Everyone worries about the man who died. She's happy that Dalinar still honors Gavilar, but it has been 6 years, and all anyone can ever see her as is the wife of a dead man. The other women humor her with idle gossip, but they won't let her into their political circles. They all pretty much just think that she's a relic now. She tells Dalinar that the reason why she returned to the Shattered Plains so quickly is because she has no home now. She's just expected to lounge around and be pampered, but ignored. She makes the other women in court, such as the Queen, uncomfortable. And she says that she will not take that from Dalinar. They were friends before she had ever even met Gavilar. And then she pleads with him if he still sees her as her, and not just the wife of a dead man. And Dalinar is shocked to see that Navani is crying. And then he grabs her and kisses her.
Ooh. This is like in a sitcom when two characters kiss after a long time of not kissing.
I was asking if you were happy that something finally happened like this.
Yeah. I had a
If you'd
feeling
given up
though.
hope.
No way. She was gonna what is that? Grind him down or wear him down. Yeah, she was gonna wear him down eventually. He almost gave in last time, so I was like, just one more try, girl. Yeah. Never give up.
Oh God, I forgot about that. No.
Well, she was talking about a kiss on a TV show and stuff where finally it happened. I can know of one where early seasons you're like, come on, these two need to kiss. But it's written in a way for by the time they're kissing, you're not happy. You're more like, no, why are you kissing now? Stop it. Because they had given both of them different partners and stuff that were much better. So, and then they just give the kiss. So the creators just see, you don't really want this, do you? And that show was Buffy.
What characters?
Xander and Willow. Because the first two seasons are all about
God.
them. By the time it gets them to kiss, they had made it so it's not something that you want anymore because it's made to piss you off at that point.
That's such an interesting part. I found it quite interesting, but it's so sad. That whole thing.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for in sitcoms.
And Dalinar, he kisses her for a long time. He had denied his feelings for her the moment that Gavilar had won her hand. Dalinar had decided to step aside and let that be that. And once they finally finish the kiss, he tries to speak, but she stops him. And he holds her. And she says that something is wrong in the world. She had just heard today that the king of Yakaved was assassinated by a Shin Shardbearer wearing white. She says that something bigger than their war here is going on. She asks Dalinar if he has heard the twisted things that men say when they die. She mentions that the surgeons, they try to ignore it, but it's happening. And she says that her daughter seeks something. Yasna frightens her sometimes because she's just so intense. But Yasna is searching for something, and she believes that something very dangerous is near.
I was so glad to hear somebody talk about the words upon death. This is something I've wanted for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Because you can't just have this world and have people not notice or talk about this.
Yeah,
it's
talk
so
straight about what's
weird.
happening. Yeah.
I really like her talking about, have you heard about this?
Well, it's
a weird thing that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and last week's episode, we had it with Teft and Kaladin and the other Bridgemen talking about it, and they were saying that it's been happening more frequently recently.
Yeah, and some people are going to write it off, but there's going to be people who are going to notice that these things have a similarity between them, and that's what's bizarre. Like it really makes you wonder, where is this coming from? So I'm so glad to have a character pointed out in a way that's a little more analytical.
Yeah, someone smart.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting that on like a battlefield, like of course you're going to see a lot of it, because you're surrounded by death. This kind of thing also reminds me of like in a zombie apocalypse movie where you start to see the signs of something happening. Like maybe there's a rabid person or animal or something, and people are like, yeah, what a weird thing. Yeah, it
a
happened
lot of weird
couple
stuff
times.
happening recently, right?
Yeah, like, oh, this guy attacked or something. And he said he was like growling or something, like,
Yeah.
like you need to get on that right now and stop it.
All I think of when you're saying all that is how it was done in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, best one.
Yeah.
Because that's how you'd write off most of it. You wouldn't think much.
You're like, weird. Oh, well.
Not really paying a lot of attention to the news either.
Just go on with my life.
Going home, you see a zombie, you think it's just some drunk guy leaving the bar.
Yeah.
And then Dalinar thinks about, the words he's heard in the vision. The sun approaches the horizon. The Everstorm comes. The true desolation. The night of sorrows. And Navani says that she needs him. She had feared it would destroy him, so she had fled. But she can't stay away anymore with how the others treat her. She's terrified with what is happening in the world, and she needs him. She says that Gavilar was not the man everyone thought him to be. Dalinar asks her not to speak ill of Gavilar, so she agrees and stops. Navani says that she was fond of Gavilar, but she's more fond of Dalinar, and she's tired of waiting. Dalinar says they'll be denounced, but she says the war camps already ignore her, and they spread rumors and lies about Dalinar anyways. She says that Gavilar is dead. She was never unfaithful while he lived, even though the Stormfather knows that she had ample reason to be. But the arguments, they do not forbid their union. Tradition is not the same as doctrine. Dalinar says that he needs time to think. He promises that he will not abandon her. And she says that he began something today, that the kiss was his. He claims that she seduced him, but she says that she had never been more open and honest in her life. And he says that that was the seductive part. And after she left, he felt as if the world had become more right for having gone wrong.
Wow. This was a sexy chapter. Well, that part was sexy.
I don't know if that's the word I'd use, but I didn't actually
said, you started something here, you better
direction.
finish it.
That's not what I read.
That's what I read. Well, the voice acting on that was very suggestive.
Is it a guy reading this?
Yes.
Okay.
I told you he does a good lady voice.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Justin, it changes depending on the POV. The POV is female, then it's a female. If it's a man, then it's male.
Yeah, but for the so-called seductive voice.
He
it has
does
to be a male because it's
voice.
Dalinar.
Yeah. Dalinar and Adolin, so whenever their ladies come in the chapter, they have the sexiest voices. Especially Adolin's girlfriend. But then I also like how the Shallan chapters do what's his name? Capsule's voice too. I thought he was a sexy voice.
Yeah, you say that now that he's dead and evil. Back before, you did not think this stuff about him.
I liked him being a little evil. It was a little more truthful. It was funny when he was all shady.
She liked him when he first showed up, and then once he flirted with Shallan more, then she stopped trusting him. And then once he turned out to have been trying to assassinate Yasna and has been literally poisoning Shallan each time they met, she liked him again. I
thought the jam and bread was really corny, but then when I found out it was poison, I thought, oh, okay. There was a reason for it. Not that it was good, but that it wasn't just for corniness. It was getting kind of predictable. And I hate that kind of thing in a guy.
Yep, we all hate when a guy keeps bringing us jam poison. Put a little effort in.
Right.
Jam
Give me
jam was
something
the
else.
antidote.
Oh,
Yeah, we learned
Ain't-
to never eat bread.
Yep.
That's the lesson there.
Never
I
eat
don't
bread.
think that's
You're
the
right.
lesson.
It'll make you fat and sick.
I don't think that's what the story was going for. But who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe that was what Brandon was telling everyone. Don't eat bread, it will make you fat. So, I'll ask you too, so now that we've had them kissing, how do you feel about the Dalinar Navani relationship?
I'm a fan. I approve.
Yeah, I thought it was taboo and fun. I always like two brothers, one woman stories.
I didn't say any of that. I think they obviously want to be together. I think revealing that she actually wasn't that close with his brother was the last piece you need to approve of this whole thing.
Yeah, but I
'Cause
wonder
that
why
was the
she.
only thing that made it weird, was that if she loved both of them, that would be a bit weird. But yeah, wonder what?
I just wonder why she ended up choosing the brother and not Dalinar.
She
Is it just
said
because
he
he
was
was
less
king?
mature and he was more scary back in the day, you know?
Oh, okay. I guess he was kind of a party animal back in the day. This
She
is not
said,
our
yeah,
first.
she said that Dalinar frightened her.
Hmm.
I see. Not that he's all sensitive. She's like, "You're perfect." I was just gonna say that this is not our first two brothers, one woman story. Kelsier and Marsh also,
Mm,
and Vin and Ellen and Zane too.
you've just revealed the writer's secret fetish, Sheta.
Yay! Is there any other one?
What about Arrow with Diggle and his brother's ex-wife?
Oh my gosh, I'm not talking about that. I'm only talking about Cosmere stuff. I really wanted
Oh.
one with two sisters with Warbreaker characters names.
I don't know. I kind of like watching you try to remember.
Vavena
Oh.
and Siri?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah. I wanted them to have a love triangle with maybe the Emperor or the older guy who has powers.
Asher.
Yes, Basher. But it was kind of a love triangle because Vavena was going to be with the Emperor. So I count it.
Hmm.
God King.
God King.
Lord Ruler. Yep, we all agree.
But yeah, man, I'm asking because that's something where I've seen that the Dalinar Navani relationship, plenty of people like it. There are some people who are against it. They just found it too weird for a brother and his
What? That kind of shit
sister-in-law.
happens all the time, man. Especially in an old-timey time setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the Bible, you had to marry your brother's widowed wife. So I was kind of confused that he didn't just automatically have to do that.
Yeah, that's how I was taught it, so I was confused why he didn't do that.
Yeah, and this one sometimes it does bother me. I didn't really like it in Arrow. I thought that one was kind of done in a poor way. But this one I thought was perfectly fine because, Gavilar's been dead for a while. Both Dalinar and Navani are single. They're into it. And yeah.
There's another thing. Also, when you're a bit older, I don't care. If you're like 20 and that happens, I think it's a little weird, you know? But if you're like much later in your life, like I think you get to a point where you're like, dude, who fucking cares anymore about this kind of shit? I'm a
just be
grown,
happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fucking old. The world's ending, all the like horrible world I live in. Like, who am I to be like, oh, that's weird. Can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some things that don't matter as much when you're older.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything else from this chapter either of you two want to go over?
What about that story about the girl harvesting seed to make rock people? Is that this one?
Yeah, that was this one.
That's gross, right? That story was gross to me.
Have you heard any of like the old Greek myths and stuff like that?
Yeah, but this world we've seen some weird stuff. So I have my theories, but I thought that was a gross story.
Shouldn't be so judgmental of other cultures, Sheta.
I'm sorry for this made up culture.
You need to be tolerant of all cultures, even ones that
Yep.
don't exist.
Yep. I'm sorry
Justin,
to the
how-
Makabaki.
Justin, how many times have you said you hate the Alethi culture?
Oh, I didn't say I have to be tolerant of them. I said Sheta does.
What? No fair.
Now, Sheeta, can you name one person in our story who's of a Makabaki descent?
There's someone in the crew. Is it? Don't tell me. His name is it Hoyd's student Stein? Stein.
He's making up names.
It starts with an S.
Good old Stein. Yeah. One of my favorite characters. Oh, man. That's my character of the week.
Stein. Sigzel?
Yeah, Sixel. Yeah.
Yes, he's Makabaki.
Yoo-hoo! Nice. Yeah, but you didn't even know that, Justin.
No, I did not. I don't remember what a Makabaki is.
Well, now you know. It's your favorite character, Stein.
Makabaki, they'll be like people like from like the western areas and mostly dark skin. That's going to be their main physical trait.
That's interesting. Now that adds another layer to why Hoyd picked Sigsel to be his student. Mystery.
All right. So this chapter was called Right for Wrong. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Right for wrong.
Well, that's what Dalinar said. Is there a sexy song that's like something feels so wrong, but it feels so right? That's the song. That's
I don't know if there is such a song. It sounds like there probably is, but
yeah, that's the song that's playing in this scene.
All right. Well, we'll just leave it with the sexy song part and go on to our fourth and final chapter we read this week. Chapter 62, 3 Glyphs. Epigraph. The darkness becomes a palace. Let it rule. Let it rule. Subject, a dark-eyed Soleil man of unknown profession.
that was fucking weird. That is getting ominous as shit.
Yeah, that's a little bit crazy. Chanty and crazy.
All right. So, chapter begins, and Bridge 4, they're on another bridge run. And so they're at a chasm, their bridge is down, and they're waiting for soldiers to cross. While it's happening, Moash asks Kaladin if he thinks those prayers that he's tied to his arm will really save them. Because on Kaladin's arm, he has 3 glyphs tied to it. Glyphs for wind, protection, beloved. It's a prayer to Yezareza, the Stormfather, to protect loved ones and friends. And Moash says that if any heralds are watching, they don't pay attention to the bridgemen. And Drahi says that Hishal will see them dead. And Moash suggests that, they should just attack the soldiers right now. They're going to kill them anyways, so why not take a few of them with them? Maybe they could even get to some Light Eyes and kill them. And Kaladin says no, and that he has a plan. Moash asks what it is, and Kaladin says that he'll see today. If the plan works, then Kaladin will buy them some more time. If it fails, then Kaladin will be dead. If that happens, then Tesh has orders to lead them on an escape tonight.
Man, hearing this after knowing what the plan is kind of the funniest shit ever, because nobody would expect him to do this asinine crazy thing all of a sudden. Just to hear, I've got a plan. If it doesn't work, I'll be dead. You're like, what is it? I didn't expect it to be, and he just starts like acting crazy in front of everybody.
He starts putting on Persian.
What the fuck are you doing, man?
Also, he's like, I'm also going to be ditching you guys, so just keep carrying the
who's like,
bridge.
that was his fucking plan? How is that a plan?
I guess
He thought about
the only
it.
one that knew it was Lopin.
Exactly, and I doubt Lopin like really grasped the full details of it.
He only knew about the armor. He probably didn't know he was going to run out.
Yeah, so they continue on, and then they get to the next chasm, which is going to be the next to last chasm. So after this will be the one against the Parshendi. And Lopin asks Kaladin when he wants the sack with the stuff. Kaladin tells him to give it to him right before they begin the final assault. And Lopin, he has a sack, hidden in their litter with all their water skins and stuff. And then a soldier comes over and says that, hey, I want some of your water. And he shoves Kaladin and, takes a water skin. And Kaladin, he takes the water skin away from the soldier and tells him, you guys have your own water crews. But the soldier tells him, I don't want to wait. And Kaladin, mainly he does not want to allow this guy to get this water, because if this guy takes it, then that's going to let all the other soldiers start to come and taking their water, and somebody will wind up seeing their sack of armor. So Kaladin stands there, and the soldier makes a fist and cracks his knuckles. And within seconds, the entire bridge crew is around Kaladin in an aggressive inverted wedge pattern. And the soldier, he's looking at the bridgeman. He looks back over at his squad that he has. And Kaladin asks the man, do you really want to fight? And also, I wonder who Sadeas will make run the bridge if you wind up hurting one of the bridgemen. And then the man just curses and says the water's probably full of crem and walks away.
What are crem? Are they cum spren? That was my thought.
So
that's disgusting, Justin.
It's been kind of explained throughout. Crem is like during high storms. It's like this layer of kind of like silt or something, where if you don't take it off, it hardens into like rock. So you heard like Kaladin's mother, she would be like cleaning out like creme from like the water that came, and Kaladin was like using some of the creme to patch up like their roof and stuff because it hardens like stone.
I think it's in the scene that Bridge 4 is described as like all looking super tough. Is that this part?
Yeah, they're bigger than the soldiers, like more muscular, just because they run around.
Yeah, I was like, I can imagine in the movie how muscular and manly they all look. And I was like in Predator or like 300.
I thought it was like a Fast and Furious scene.
They just like look really tough. And I was like, oh God, I hope Zack Snyder doesn't direct this.
Oh God, no. If Zack Snyder had directed this, Kaladin would have beat the shit out of that soldier right there.
No, if Zack Snyder would direct this, Kaladin would have already gone and like just start killing the Light Eyes.
You're right. He would have been fighting the entire army and beaten Sadeas by this point.
All right. So back to this. Kaladin, he's kind of glad that, none of the soldiers really realized how trained of a, like how trained the bridgemen were with making their wedge formation and stuff like that. So they go on, they begin their next run, and Kaladin, he takes the front of the bridge like normal, along with Moesh and Rock. Kaladin also puts Shen in the back. That way Shen would not be able to see what Kaladin's doing. And Kaladin tells Rock that he's going to duck out once they start their final charge, and asks for Rock to take over leading. Rock asks, is this something I can help with? But Kaladin says that no, it's not. So once they begin their assault, Kaladin, he runs out in front of the bridge, and Lopin tosses him the sack. And Kaladin takes out the shield and begins putting on the armor while he's running. And he also breathes in a little bit of Stormlight, but not too much. He doesn't want it like noticeable that he's using it. As he gets closer to the chasm, the Parshendi, they're doing their song, and then they stop singing, and he can just see the outrage on their face. And a more violent song began from them, and then they tried everything they could to kill him. Like pretty much all of them just start shooting at Kaladin.
For that song, I imagined it was going to be X-Gun Give It To You. And they just start unloading on him.
I imagine they were singing Kumbaya first, and then they start singing that.
I guess I was more thinking classical music with like Mars.
That would be fucking awesome, dude. I never thought that their singing sounded cool. I always think it sounded lame. But when you put it in that context, that would be such an epic scene. Any of their songs to be like a lot more emotional and moving than just what I imagined, which was kind of the
like a real song
was saying. No, I imagined like just some generic hums, nothing that cool.
Yeah, like maybe like an Avatar type song. Like
yeah, if they go from Avatar to Mars, that would be fucking badass. That would be so scary. Like, Jesus.
Yep, and so arrows are flying all around Kaladin, but with this Stormlight, he has the strength, so he's able to move quickly to dodge them. And a couple times he might get like nicked with one, but then his Stormlight immediately heals. And not a single arrow was being fired at Bridge 4. And, at one point, a bunch of arrows were shot towards him. Kaladin lifts up the shield, and he notices that the arrows in air change course and go into the shield. And Kaladin realizes that this must be the thing he was doing on past bridge runs, with having arrows get focused and go into the bridge. And after doing this for a while, Kaladin, he begins to slow, and he has no more stormlight to suck in. And he also notices that now all the bridges have been set down. And he looks at his shield, and it is just covered in arrows. So soldiers, they go across the bridges, fighting starts. And the other members of Bridge 4 come over to him, and they're saying that he should be dead. But Kaladin knows that he still will need to deal with Matal. So he's over by Matal, and Sadeas also is riding up. And Sadeas, he looks over at Kaladin and says, he looks familiar. Matal says, yeah, that's the one from before. And Sadeas is just like, oh yeah, the miracle. He assumes that Matal had sent Kaladin forward as a decoy. And Matal takes full responsibility.
Yeah, because who would do that of their own volition? Who would just run out like that? Like, what bridgeman would be like, I got a good idea.
Let me do it.
And also, I think Matal, he has no choice, because it's like...
No, I mean for Sadeas to assume that he did that. You wouldn't be like, well, I think a bridgeman just decided to do that for no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Sadeas says that, well, luckily it worked, so I guess I'm going to have to promote you. Sadeas mentions that the Parshendi practically ignored the assault force, and that all 20 bridges were set with nary a casualty. And then Sadeas says that somehow it just feels like a waste.
That was fucking creepy, man. You don't trust this Sadeas guy. That's messed up.
It's like getting a deal you never asked for,
Mm-hmm.
Like you weren't expecting that. Like, sure, I'll take it, but
that is not what he said, Sheta.
I had this whole thing set up, and
that is
kind of for nothing now.
Not what he said.
The way he said it, I really understood.
Understood what?
The feeling, like
what are you talking about? That was not the feeling he felt.
Wait, what?
What he said was, seems like a waste, or feels like a waste for some reason. It was creepy.
Yeah. I understand what he's saying, what he feels and stuff.
Oh my god. And what is that?
Like I said, it's a deal you never asked for, but...
God, that's not what he said.
He's like, he did all this work with like having bridgemen in his plan to like have them kind of take a bunch of arrows and then just to all have it be for a lesser price, which is just one guy who didn't even die. He's just like, I guess.
You are the biggest Sadeas simp I think of all time, Sheta.
I am not.
You will apologize for anything. Explain away anything.
He hasn't learned yet.
Sheta, you can't say whether or not you are the biggest simp or not. You haven't listened to other podcasts, so you have nothing to compare yourself to.
Oh, maybe I am? Is that what you're saying?
You could
definitely are.
All right, make me a shirt.
Notice me, Sadeas Pie.
Sadeas Senpai.
Sadeas did nothing wrong.
Well, legally he hasn't.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's the most successful. Okay, I won't say anymore.
I was so fucking mad. It's in 2 seconds. I'm sorry, maybe I'll say it. I'll say the part.
After Sadeas leaves, Matal sputters that Kaladin, he could have gotten him killed. And Kaladin's like, well, instead I got you promoted. And Matal says that he should have Kaladin strung up. But Kaladin responds, they tried that before. Didn't work.
Didn't take.
Yeah.
So manly.
And he also points out that from now on, Sadeas is going to expect that Kaladin's going to be out there for doing this for each bridge run. And then after Matal leaves, Moash says, Kaladin, you figured out the secret. We can make this work and expand it. And Scar says, you know what? I think I can dodge those arrows. If I had some armor and all I was focused on was dodging the arrows.
I don't know, man. Everyone's optimism here. I don't know about.
Yeah. You guys didn't know everything that was happening.
And Moash says that they should have like 5 or so of them running out like that.
See, this is what happens when you bother to study your frickin' enemies. You can disrespect their honored dead for a strategic advantage.
Like in Star Trek Discovery.
Yep, as Starfleet is wont to do.
That's shameful.
And then Kaladin thinks of Shen, and he searches around for him. and he finds Shen just sitting on a rock, staring forward distantly. As Kaladin approaches,
poor guy's been
You see-
traumatized. That's so funny and sad.
he sees that Shen has a face of pain with tears streaking down his eyes. And when Shen sees Kaladin, he shudders and looks away.
Oh, poor Shen.
And Tef says that, Shen sat down once he saw what Kaladin was doing, and he does not think Shen's going to be useful on any more bridge runs.
What we do is we dress Shen up in that. That'll really confuse the Parshendi about what to do.
He would die if you did that.
Would he? They're not going to kill their own kind.
He's not going to run or anything. They said he sat down. And he might just
Well, if you order him to, he's a Parshendi. He'll do what he's told. We got a good system here. Yeah, but Parshmen do what they're told. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. He wouldn't wear that. He might rip it off. Unless you tie his arms up too. That would be really awful.
Mm-hmm. Now you're thinking like a
that's
commander.
Awful. Okay, they blindfold him and tie his hands up, and then they secretly put armor on him without him knowing what it is.
I personally, I believe that they can feel the dead. I don't think this is just a cultural thing. I think it's something deeper than that. I have no evidence for that, but I just feel that that's the case. Like similar to how they sing to like connect or whatever they do.
I do wonder why, if there's what the greater reason is that they are so offended by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there is one. Maybe it'll even tie into the death things.
I wonder when we find out if Kaladin's going to throw up and be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I did that." Like if it's
I don't know what really that could be.
Bad reason and like terrible thing to do that,
To just move a dead body? I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't know what it could be either. Like, I have a gross theory, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh, you have to.
You have to.
Okay. Just something like maybe the shells are not part of them. Maybe they're like their children or something like that. So like,
why would their shells be their children?
They were gonna grow into being their children.
Oh,
or
like
something.
A fucking seed they leave?
Yeah. So then like wearing it is like wearing like a dead baby or something.
Well, that escalated.
That just makes me think of the Futurama episode.
Oh yeah, that's a good comparison actually.
Oh yeah, the popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, I always want like popcorn shrimp after that episode.
After one gets up and talks, the first thing you think is, I want to try that.
They look delicious the way they animate them. Even the characters can't stop eating them.
Then back to this. Kaladin, he sends the men out to go find the injured bridgemen, how many there are from the other crews. And then Kaladin, he begins going through his medical supplies, and he realizes that he's kind of in shock. And Tef asks are you all right? Kaladin says, yeah, I'm fine. What's important is that the men are safe. And Tef tells Kaladin that you're not immortal. The Radiants could be killed. If you keep doing stuff like this, sooner or later, one of those arrows will take you in the neck, and you might not be able to heal from that. He tells them that the men cannot lose Kaladin. Kaladin responds that he will not leave the men to face arrows if he can do something about it. And Tef tells them that, what you're going to do, you're going to allow a few of them to put on armor and go out with you. And with carrying the bridge, they can likely get some of the wounded from the other bridges that they have, and they will likely be able to help carry Bridge 4. And Kaladin reluctantly agrees to this. And with how Teft has been speaking, Kaladin says, Teft, you were a spearman. How did you wind up in a bridge crew? And Teft just says that this is where he belongs. And then Kaladin witnesses as Dalinar Kholin's army arrives. And they have their own bridgemen, like we knew. And due to all the fighting going on the plateau, they're able to get the bridges down and get across without being fired upon.
Wait, this is what pissed me off. Kaladin even says it like so much for his so-called honor.
But they were safe.
Safe at the death of others who are not safe. All of this I do not like. And I think it's fascinating that as we're watching Dalinar figure his stuff out, he's becoming more like Sadeas in the sense that he's, not thinking of the people below him as much as he did when he was really taking the book seriously. He seems to be taking the book a little less seriously now, to me at least,
I think once he kind of shared what's happening with him to people, he's less like looking to the book for answers,
Still asks Kaladin if, do you still think that you're cursed? And Kaladin says that, no, I'm not. But now this means that all those failures, they were just me. It wasn't anything else. And Kaladin thinks of the people that he failed. He goes through his list, and then he also thinks of Terra, who he hadn't thought of in some time. His failure with her was different from the failures of the others, but it was still a failure. And Syl tells Kaladin that he needs to get over this. Those things were not his fault. And he says that that's what his father used to say to him. Take responsibility, but don't blame yourself. Protect, save, help, but know when to give up. And he asks, how do I do this? Syl says that she doesn't know, but he is ripping himself apart. And she tells him that he is still new to this, and he should not push himself too hard. So the bridgemen, they bring over some wounded, and Kaladin begins to treat them. And then Lopin starts shouting, Kaladin! And Kaladin, he looks over to where Lopin is pointing, and he sees a line of Parshendi archers who have their arrows just aimed at Kaladin and the bridgemen. These archers were only focused on destroying Kaladin and his men. And Kaladin just is too sluggish to react, and he thinks that all of his men are about to die in front of him again. And then a single person in slate gray shard plate smashes into the archers and begins killing them with a shard blade. Once they finish, the shard bearer raises his blade in salute to the bridgemen before charging off. And Drehi says, that was Dalinar Kholin. And Moash just says, well, he just saw a group of undefended archers and took his chance. Light eyes don't care about the bridgemen. And Kaladin, he's still in shock because, at that moment, he was going to lose it all. But then he snaps back and says that, yeah, Moash is right. But in his mind, Kaladin wonders, why would Dalinar have saluted them, though, if he doesn't care about the bridgemen?
I want to see that. I want to see this from his perspective so bad.
He was probably watching him. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know if he saw the crazy thing he did and if he's aware of it. That would be so interesting.
Dang, that boy's got spunk.
Like, what's with your bridgeman? That was crazy, dude.
And then he's like, oh shit, look, they're gonna go try to kill him. I'm gonna go over there. Just like how he saved Sadeas, by kind of like looking ahead and seeing that he was in danger. He definitely kept an eye out for Kaladin because he got there before anyone. And
well, we don't know. They were pretty far away. We don't know if he actually saw any. I don't think he saw any of that, But
why would he salute if he didn't see it?
Because he respects what bridgemen are doing.
Oh, you love Dalinar. You think he's so nice.
I think... No, I think that he has respect for everyone in the army. He doesn't think some people are better or worse than others,
I think he had to have seen. It's weird to take the time to do that to just a random bridge crew.
Well, he saw that they were being shot upon for sure.
Yeah, but the salute is like a gotcha, bro, like kind of thing. He has never done that before. That's all I'm saying. We've seen him fight before, and he's never like taken the time to salute everybody he saves and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So
Kaladin says that from now on, they are going to have to group up farther away once they're done with their bridge runs. They are no longer going to be safe. And that's the end of the chapter.
I just hope Kaladin's mind is changed once he is taken under Dalinar's wing and sees him like a father figure.
I've already told you he's going to fight Dalinar to the death and get his shard plate shit.
No way.
And it's going to be really tragic because it's going to be based upon his own bigotry and Dalinar's own lack of thinking about the situations of those at the bottom. It's going to be tragic on both sides.
No. Dalinar's going to be like, I already have 1.5 sons, but I would like to adopt you too, Kaladin.
Oh, no. God, no.
Why would Dalinar say he has 1.5 sons?
I didn't even catch that part.
Because his one son can't fight. And like Kaladin has way more potential.
But have we ever seen Dalinar be like, well, Renarin's only considered half a son? We haven't seen him really look down on him for that.
Oof, and then what's going to happen
We've seen others like Sadeas look down on him.
This is him talking man to man, that's all. So when he finally gets his shard plate and sword, and even though he promised it to Renarin, he's gonna give it to
God,
Kaladin.
no,
And then Renarin,
no.
that's when he goes evil.
Yeah.
You never loved me, Dad.
But also, Dalinar already promised Blade to Sadius.
They're gonna find a lot more. Maybe 2 blades and 1 shard plate.
All right.
Also, Kaladin already has armor.
Yeah, I think he will claim his true armor that he deserves if that dude's coming up here, especially.
I wonder what lesson that would be, though, you know?
There's no lesson. The only lesson would be you've got the one you wanted, which is you've got to seize the opportunity to be strong to protect what you care about. You can't have pride get in the way of you doing what you feel needs to be done.
Now, does that go along with what Teft was telling Kaladin about the Radiants?
What was he? What part?
They seek to defend life and never kills unnecessarily. Protecting 10 innocents is not worth killing 1. How you lived is more important to the Almighty than what you accomplished.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very radiant-y.
That said, kill 1 innocent. Nobody's talking about killing innocents here.
Yeah,
that guy
is
not an innocent. No, he is not. He is a murderer, and he sold him into slavery.
Oh, are the rules like kind of bendable like that, or
what's the bend? It depends on what you define as an innocent for that. But I don't think I don't think most people would call an innocent somebody who murders for personal gain.
What about the part of killing unnecessarily?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's going to murder him. I think he's going to wind up in a situation where he needs to fight him to save another. Probably, actually, you know what's interesting? This is getting into theories now. Kaladin has now done this. He's going to continue being noticed. Dalinar's noticed him, you know. He's going to set up a whole new way to do the bridges. It's going to be more efficient, you know. And he's going to be like a person in the army. He'll probably get promoted, honestly, at some point. And then what's his name's going to come and see that and get really worried that this guy he thought he'd sold into slavery and never would see again is now getting bigger and start to like suspect, oh no, he's going to tell on me and people will believe him. And so he'll attack him or something. That would be my actual theory now.
He's going to tell on me.
Yeah. Think about like a guy like that, because that guy's not evil, you know. He talked himself into needing to do that, right? Think about how like worried he's always going to have to be, both a mixture of his conscience, but also that this isn't the kind of thing he does a lot, it seems like, you know. So this is one really dark, evil deed he allowed himself to do. He's probably always been worried about it. And he was stupid enough to not kill Kaladin, you know. I think he's going to freak out.
Would he remember Kaladin when he sees him?
100%, yes.
He barely remembered him when he saw him that time.
Dude, he'll remember him this time.
Light Eyes don't really remember.
You do that to a dude, if he is evil, then it's like, you know, the M. Bison, to me, it was only Tuesday, you know? But this is not a thing that it sounds like he does very often. He will remember Kaladin when he sees him, and he will be frightened of it, I think.
Maybe the slave mark will give him away. Like, I see, it's you, you know.
The slave mark for sure, but the face, because we had a moment when he was talking to him where you saw reservation in his face, but he steals himself. When Kaladin argues with him. And this dude ran out of nowhere, saved his life. This is too many things. He will remember him, no question in my mind. And it'll freak him out to see him, you know, because like he wasn't anywhere near here when he sold him. The idea that he'd make his way all the way to this war, you know, would be pretty freaky.
All right, so this chapter was called 3 Glyphs. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
I don't remember. 3, like, I don't remember what glyphs are.
It was the things on his, the prayer things he had on his,
okay. Gotcha. His prayer
glyphs. Yeah, glyphs aren't exactly a writing, but they're like different, like kind of like, think of it kind of like a rune or something like that represent things. So, and some men are able to like read those because they're not real writing.
Okay.
Yeah, Nancy men.
Like on Kaladin's forehead, he has like the Sas Non glyphs, so 2 there that make him a slave, and then the Shash glyph, which means dangerous.
Badass.
Yeah, and part of their religion is like you'd write like a glyph as a prayer, and then you would like burn it, and then it's supposed to be like the heralds take it to the Almighty. But a lot of times they wear it beforehand. So like Kaladin here, he had the 3 glyphs, which were wind, protection, and beloved, as a prayer that he was wearing on his arm. Anything else from these chapters either of you two want to discuss?
I really thought everyone was gonna die there.
I didn't know where that was going to go. I didn't think they'd die, but I did not know where it was going to go because they were that was not a good situation to be in.
When Lopin says Kaladin, I was like, no, Lopin. I thought Lopin was gonna die for sure.
And when it was the person in slate gray shard plate that smashed into them, did you remember that that's Dalinar's shard plate?
Yes.
I didn't remember, but I figured it was Dalinar because I didn't know who else it could be.
Yeah, he's the one with the kind of plain, not flashy one.
Yeah, his isn't painted. Sadius's is red. Elakar's was gold, and Adolin's is blue. Those are the ones that we know the color of. We might also know the color of, like, the guy Adolin fought in the duel, but I don't remember that. All right, well, let's go over to our theories and predictions segment. So, how are people going to react to Dalinar and Navani courting now?
With not as much scandal as Dalinar's worried about, but enough to be really annoying and stupid.
I think all their kids are going to be like, about time.
I don't know about that. I think they might be a little more creeped out than that. Or Adolin, at least.
It's like, wait, you guys are all going to be step siblings instead of cousins.
Yeah.
I think the one that might be more interested in Adolin would be, how would Elakar react?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
More evidence that they're working against him.
Now you're going to steal my mom away?
Yep, just like, you want to steal my throne? Actually, that's a funny one. You guys are working together to overthrow me to get a claim to the throne.
Yeah, that you both think I'm weak. Yeah.
That would prove everything I think about him right.
Yeah. He might, think of it suspiciously.
All right. And how's Kaladin and the Bridge Force new plan going to go with having multiple people dodging from the arrows?
It's going to be fucking funny, that's for sure. I think the soldiers will make fun of it, put bets on it and stuff. It's just too amusing. Imagine put on some Benny Hill music as they run around.
Yeah. They're going to be like those rodeo clowns that...
Yep, that's the imagery in my head. Yeah, you're right.
Like they got to
make a game out of it.
Quick dodge and stuff.
But I think it's going to work quite well. I think it's going to become the norm. This is going to be the way they change how things are done down here. Like I said, I believe that's going to lead to Kaladin getting a little more notice, which will not be good for him too, in some ways, but will probably be good in the end.
How are they going to do it without like using the Stormlight like he does?
That's my worry. I'm like, they're going to die,
I wonder if you can train them to use it too, or is it only that Kaladin is force sensitive?
Well, you got to think, I don't know what it's like to be shot by arrows. I don't know how fast you do actually need to dodge them. I know it's not like bullets, so you actually have maybe some chance. It also depends how many arrow guys there are, a lot of factors.
Plus, when you have multiple, now instead of all the Parshendi shooting at one, they're going to be spread throughout like 4, 5, 6. So
I think
it's not going to be as hard as it was. It'll be easier than what Kaladin just had to deal with.
Yeah, but it won't be.
It won't be
It
nothing.
Won't be
though.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah. They're just out there with, like, they don't have real armor on. I think they're gonna get hurt for sure, if not killed.
And then this question, not really a fair question. I don't know if you guys will actually have anything, but I'll just see if you have any idea what it could be. Because we know what the first ideal is for the Radiants. And it said that there are 4 more ideals, and all the ideals are different depending on the order. Do you have any idea what any of the other ideals could be? Any guess?
Well, like I kind of said, but like I imagine the orders of the Radiant are gonna depend on what kind of powers they have. Because so far, I think Kaladin's only able to bind stuff and deflect stuff, which I think is opposite of binding. So I think so it will have something to do with those other powers. So maybe some kind of metaphor for flying or something like that. Or commanding sunlight would be like be the light to the darkness, that kind of thing. Bring them together would be the binding one or something like that.
How does this one apply to what Kaladin's able to do?
Well, this is only the first part. So the other part I was saying it would be like binding people together, like how he brought his crew together. I feel like that is helping him have this power in the first place, because he is embodying that order, that ideal before even really knowing what the words are, So I think he's following those ideals unknowingly already. That's why he's able to do this power. So I think they will have to do with whatever the powers are that they are able to do. So
I think if these ones are about how to live, right? The other ones have to be about, I like your idea of how to live together. I think that's a good one.
The light one. Be light to dark and stuff.
Well, that's yours. What's that? That's your version. I like what you're saying about the coming together thing. Like, if you have one that's about how to live, the other would be about how to live together. Maybe one would be about how to, I don't know, not quite die, but die correctly. But then the first one kind of covers that. How to think of others, I think, has to be one, because you're like, something about protecting the weak and the strength and all that stuff. They touched upon that already. So how to live with others, how to protect others, and then why to live. That would be my guess. Those are my off the seat of my pants for some kind of artsy way to say those things.
All right. And then I'll just open it up for whatever theories you want to throw out there.
I already said my main theory earlier, so I pretty much tapped out on theories throughout the show.
What was your theory again?
That the words, the life before death stuff actually has a much darker origin. Like, maybe it had to do with them giving up and why they gave up, something very dark and unhappy and hopeless, But in the modern day, our characters have and will take those words to mean something hopeful instead. And then you've got a metaphor about the intent of why religious stuff started or myths started and how they affect our lives in a positive way, like how we use them instead. So I do think we'll get something like that with how important these old texts are and stuff, and seeing how horrible it was back then. And then my other theory was something, but I forgot what it was. I said it already, so it's in the show somewhere.
Okay. I really like learning more about the Fabrials. Like, I was like, is the Fabrial technology and engineering, I'm quoting, just catching and trapping various spren? And then I think I said this earlier when they had the water heating spren or Fabrials, And so I thought it was a funny idea that spren are the source of all power in this world, and that's their tech is just manipulating them. And I thought it was funny to imagine their like laboratories, just a bunch of trapped spren, or like trying to entice spren to appear and then catching them and stuff like that.
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah, I know. Not funny then. I think it would be really creepy. But the mom, Navani, is all like, oh yes, we're doing all this research and engineering, and then having it just be something like that. I thought that was funny.
Like just spren screaming in pain as you cook them alive for whatever effect they can give you.
Mm-hmm. And then I thought you would ask this, Joe, but to ask like what we think surge binders are, because we don't really find out. Do you remember, Justin?
I remember them talking about surge binders.
Yeah. So what do we think that surge binders are?
I don't remember the context of how they were. Do you have it, Sheta?
Well, I just think that they are pre-radiant people, like the early radiant. Because
Oh yeah, like they bind the surge of energy from the storm, right? Yeah, that would make sense actually, as a way to say it. Maybe that's the name of the people who aren't radiants, just having that power, they are a surge binder.
I thought they might be people like Kaladin.
Mm-hmm.
So like before that whole thing is established, so.
No, I think that makes perfect sense.
Okay. And then the chant that they sang that is lost, I wonder if the Parshendi song is like that chant, like an ancient song like that, and that may be connected in some way. All right, and this is my kind of theory I just was thinking about now. I really am starting to think that time travel and alien technology is a part of this story.
Are you doing a fucking Chariot of the Gods here?
What?
The book that says that all this evidence in the past of aliens showing up, the one that popularized them, like building the pyramids and all that shit.
Not exactly, but
like
yes.
Ancient Aliens crap, the stuff that led to my most hated show of all time.
If I'm imagining the visuals of this world, Dalinar says the shard blade and shard plate just don't fit in. It's way too advanced for the time, Nothing is like that since, and we have this limited amount of.
So why is it aliens? Why can't it be from another Cosmere world instead, or
that
from
is
God?
alien? That's
not aliens.
It's a different planet.
Alien.
So I'm saying alien, but it's a different planet. So that's what I'm thinking. And then the time travel thing is because it is a sin in this world to try and look into the future. Like, why is that a sin? And why is that not, you can't do that? It's because there's time travel. It's because that's a key to the mystery of this world.
I don't like the time travel, but I like the idea that the desolation has conquered the future and is working its way backwards. That would be badass. I always love those kind of villains. You see that a lot in comic books.
Yeah. I think, there's definitely an element like that that's going to be just a bomb. So that's my theory. And then I already talked about this Makabaki origin with the harvesting of seed and putting it into stone and making rock people. I wonder if the Parshendi and the Parshmen are related or also made by this kind of this way, made in this way in rock.
Yeah,
something.
They were described as being rock-like earlier, very specifically in these chapters described that way.
Yeah. So I think that story is not only the Makabaki origin, it's probably a lot more, maybe some other races in this world that are from that kind of origin. All right, and then kind of a last one, but I was just wondering, Dalinar doesn't really remember his wife, right? What if Navani is his wife's sister, and what he sees in Navani is actually pieces of what he forgot about his wife?
No. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Somebody would have brought that up.
I don't know. Magic is weird. I think there's something with that he's his resistance to Navani.
No. He also liked her before. He specifically remembers that.
Two sisters.
No. I'm not. I'm done. I'm not putting any credence in that.
I know, this is more of a joke theory. It's just that he doesn't remember his wife at all. So I was just wondering if there could be a more mystery.
You're just trying to make this even more taboo.
Double sibling.
We all see what you're doing.
All right. That's all I have for these chapters.
All right. So now let's go over to our characters of the week.
I really, really wanted to pick Navani as my character for figuring out the texts and stuff and realizing how important it is. But Kaladin fucking ran around in front of a bridge, letting people shoot him, doing a theory that we had brought up as a joke, thinking they'd never actually do it. And that is unbelievably badass. So I have to pick him.
Yeah. He also kind of figured out how to use the Stormlight, so that's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good choice. But I'm going to have to pick Dalinar for getting to first base with his girl, maybe second.
He most
That's
certainly did not get to second base.
Well, they kissed for a long time. That's all I'm saying.
That's the reasoning, just because he made out with Navani.
No, he also he's proven that he's not crazy, and his visions are real and stuff, and might be crucial to figuring out the bigger mystery. And saving Kaladin and his crew from death and stuff. All badass, and maybe even winning over Kaladin a little bit. Makes him my favorite for the week.
So for mine, I'm gonna have to go with Matal for coming up with a plan to have a bridgeman run out front and take all the arrows, so everyone.
That's true. That's true. He did come up with that brilliant plan.
But no, I'm gonna have to go with Kaladin as well. It was just same thing with Justin. I really like Navani in these chapters, but it's just too hard to go against Kaladin.
Dang. I was going to pick Navani for finally getting her guy to make out with her and maybe get to second base. Can I change it to Navani then?
No. Your Dalinar reasonings were so good. Don't ruin them with whatever that was.
Yeah, but she's been trying so hard, and my girl finally did it. So, and also she was the one who realized the translation thing and how big of a discovery that is.
That's the reason you're picking her.
It is, and she became vulnerable, and it was just I liked her a lot too. Mm-hmm. So, can I tie them for the kiss?
No ties.
All right,
you have to pick. No ties.
All right, here, yeah, Sheta, you have to pick Dalinar or Navani.
No. Okay, dang. All right, I'll stick with Dalinar just for saving the entire bridge crew, as well as the other stuff. So, I'm sorry.
All right, now let's go over to quotes.
All right, mine is Tef talking to Kaladin while he's trying to figure out how to use a Stormlight. Life before death, Tef said, wagging a finger at Kaladin. The Radiant seeks to defend life always. He never kills unnecessarily and never risks his own life for frivolous reasons. Living is harder than dying. The Radiant's duty is to live. Strength before weakness. All men are weak at some time in their lives. The Radiant protects those who are weak and uses his strength for others. Strength does not make one capable of rule. It makes one capable of service. I thought I liked hearing more about the words and the kind of stuff that the Radiant follow. And this specific part about how living is harder than dying has been a constant struggle for Kaladin throughout his life, with him just wanting to give up. And I think every time he fights it just helps make him stronger in that way, which has made him more able to use this power, I think. So I just like that.
Yeah, I liked the way that was put. The text or the underlying philosophies were very fun and interesting, I thought. Mm-hmm. I really liked the part about the strength makes you capable of service thing, because that's so antithetical to how they think in this world and in our world too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's really fun.
It's more heroic, and yeah.
And that you would strive towards strength. It doesn't encourage you to take advantage of those who are strong. It encourages you to be strong, which is good. And then also the part of we've all been weak in our lives is a reason to justify working for others, because at one point you were a little baby who was just going to die, so yeah. And we all have downs, and it's so
very
good when somebody's there during that. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, but the one thing we've seen from Kaladin throughout everything, from his flashbacks to now, is he's always trying to protect everyone that he can, and he also puts all the responsibility on himself, so he blames himself when he can't protect them.
That ties directly into my quote.
Oh, all right, perfect segue then.
Which is when he's talking with Syl about about, are you still cursed? And he says, no. And he says, if there's no curse or bad luck, no God above being angry at me, I have to live with knowing that with a little more effort, a little more practice or skill, I could have saved them. That is a heavy thing for him to have on himself, and seems like it's going to inspire him to push himself even further than he's ever been, which is how the Radiants seem to think, apparently. So whether the lesson is going to be that you can't save everyone and you cannot kill yourself trying to, or the lesson's going to be get as close as you possibly can to being the best you can. I'm very curious to see, because I think both could be very interesting and make sense.
Mm-hmm. I hope it's the train and get stronger, because that's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then my quote is pretty much Navani's like whole breakdown emotional part. Your brother, Navani spat, expression flashing with anger. Why must everyone always focus on him? Everyone always worries so much about the man who died. He's not here, Dalinar. He's dead. He's gone. I miss him, but not half as much as you do, it appears. I honor his memory, Dalinar said stiffly, hesitating, hand on the door's latch. That's fine. I'm happy you do, but it's been 6 years, and all anyone can see me as is the wife of a dead man. The other women, they humor me with idle gossip, but they won't let me into their political circles. They think I'm a relic. You want to know why I came back so quickly? I returned, he said, because I have no home. I'm expected to sit out of important events because my husband is dead. Lounge around, pampered but ignored. I make them uncomfortable. The queen, the other women at court. I'm sorry, Dalinar said, but I don't. She raised her free hand, tapping on the chest. I won't take it from you, Dalinar. We were friends before I even met Gavilar. You still know me as me, not some shadow of a dynasty that crumbled years ago. Don't you? She looked at him pleading. That whole segment, for me, I just always felt like that was a very big part for Navani's character. And it always made me like her a lot more. Because we first see Navani, she just comes off, strong woman, knows what she wants and everything. She's able to easily, stand up to and talk back to Wit when he's trying to joke around. She knows what she wants as Dalinar and stuff. But right here, we see a much more vulnerable side that we had not seen of her character at that point in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And it
also really... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it also really shows that she's not just like playing with Dalinar, manipulating him just for fun and games. It's more that she does care about him. It's not just, well, Gavilar's dead, I'll just screw the other guy.
Maybe a little bit of that, but I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding. I really like that perspective too, because we do see characters like that, like widowed queens and stuff like that in books, and they're not really characters, because the king's usually the character, So I really like seeing her point of view about that. Like, it's true, she's kind of redundant now because there's a new queen, and like there's no place for her, and even though she's very capable and smart, like they're just already thinking that she's done at her age, which is not that old. It must seem very frustrating. So I do like that part too.
All right. Well, now we'll go over a couple comments that we've got. So first will be from Well of Ascension, chapters 44 through 48. This was from Operate NL. Part 4 was too long for me. The relationship between Vin and Elend is cute and well done, but I feel it was hammered into the ground for me. It also took too much away from the whole siege situation. Tensoon rules. I have no problem in my mind to just replace the Kandra name, lol. Intrigued to see who God is. And I wonder if Zane assumed it was God, or if God said he was God. And then from Well of Ascension, chapters 56 through the epilogue, same person, Operate NL. I like the ending, but more for the promises it makes for book 3. I hope Brandon goes bigger picture and shows who and what the forces that be are doing.
That's exciting.
I would have been pissed if I wonder how in-depth he wants it to be. Because depending on how in-depth you want it to be, you could be like, sweet, or you could be very disappointed.
Unsatisfied, yeah. I think addressing it at all will be interesting.
Well, some people really want concrete answers to things, I personally really like when you don't concrete answer things, but you get close. But a lot of people, it drives them fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. Like, you don't need all the answers usually, just like, leave some things a little bit mysterious still.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I prefer, but
For me, it depends on what the mystery is. Stuff with gods and stuff, all right, that's one thing. If it's like Mission Impossible 3, where it never reveals exactly what the thing.
You got to at least reveal something about it. That's such a
doesn't
fucking
matter.
pain because, for gods, you're world building. For Mission Impossible, it's just, or the J.J. Abrams style, it's like, hey, what is this? You're like, I don't know. What is it? Then you finish, you're like, if you weren't going to tell me, why would I fucking care?
Well, Justin, did you ever see Final Reckoning?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, because that movie, it starts, they tie in stuff from like all the movies beforehand.
That's fun.
All right. And then from Warbreaker, chapters 11 through 16, from Richard Rawl. I have to call Sheta out on her BS this episode. She calls Denth annoying because of how he talks. You know what I hate about being a mercenary? And she reacts with, just say it. Well, Sheta, you do the same thing. I have a theory about that, but I don't want to say it. Either say it or don't start about it.
Fair enough. I will just. I
You did
not
that
gonna
this
come up with
episode, Sheta.
but I didn't.
Yes, you did. You said, I have a disgusting theory about that, but I'm not going to tell anyone.
It's because we have a theory section. I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
You should interrupt the flow.
Also,
you know how frustrating it is
I
to
didn't
feel
know that Joe keeps those parts in. Like, I just assumed you'd take those out because I do say it a lot. I thought that was a little like wink at Joe to be like, don't put that in because I'm going to say it later. Like,
that's not how I interpreted it. You notice how I just say my theory at the time? It's so unsatisfying to be like, to find out this exciting answer, stay till the end. Then at the end, oh, I forgot.
Well, the other thing too is there are times where you have been like, oh, there is a theory. I don't want to say it. It's too embarrassing. Yeah. But I do feel like just most of the time, we do get to coax it out of you.
Yeah.
I just should not talk. Should just not say anything.
We're going to start calling you Denth, Sheta.
No. I can't believe I have a catchphrase like that. I'm sorry.
All right. And then from The Way of Kings, chapters 54 through 56, from Alcade 946. I'm really looking forward to the rating the cracked romances at the end of the book. Oh, Sheta needs to make the list this time.
No! God, no. No, man. I wouldn't survive.
I did respond to the comment saying that the romance rankings, those are in our Cosmere check-ins. So we won't have one of those for the book. That will be a while down.
This is for Warbreaker?
Well, this will be for like when we this thing was from Way of Kings, this comment.
Oh, okay.
But next time we do a ranking all the romances, it won't be for a while because we'll do a Cosmere check-in.
Dang.
Because I don't want to do that all the time. It's better when you can add a bunch of romances in instead of, well, 2 got added in this book. Let's add them in.
Yeah.
And then from J. Ramirez, 3-4. When you think about it from a human perspective, you can remove any organ from the body except the brain, and it can survive as long as you put the organ back in the body. Think organ transplants. So it makes sense that if a shard blade separated the brain from the body, that it would kill the person. Whereas if you just slice the arm, the only part of the body to die would be the part where the shard blade disconnected that body from the brain. So if in the Cosmere, the soul lives within the nervous system, it all makes sense.
I do have to ask, what kind of fucked up shit are you getting into, man? It's good enough. You can remove any part of the body and keep it alive. You better be a medical student or something, because that's
they said
serial killer stuff, man.
They said think organ transplants.
Yeah,
I guess that thing, it always, what it reminds me of was the Batman, it was the Detective Comics storyline going on that was connected during the whole Batman RIP stuff, where it was Hush, and he removed Catwoman's heart from her body.
Yeah.
And like,
he's a surgeon, though, isn't he?
Yeah. And yeah, she was literally like had a machine connected to it, and Batman had to go defeat Hush in order to get the heart back. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Catwoman would die. All right, and then from Koval Petro 28. Just want to give Nick appreciation for a good, thoughtful discussion, and I compliment him on good note taking. He definitely does a good job with that. All three of you guys work together on a theory and you hit a bullseye. I think Justin
Woohoo!
Sheta needs someone to balance out Sheta's outlandish theorizing with Justin's conventional theory building to get more accurate theories.
I do like the teamwork a lot.
The note taking or the research stuff is quite good.
Yeah, Nick's good at.
Nick has a more analytical way of thinking than either of us.
We're definitely like just colors and and movements, and Nick's like putting the math in there.
Themes are the thing that interest me most. I don't even know how to describe what interests Sheta the most, but the math and the noticing patterns, that's the skill he brings in that I enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah. We should just ask for his notes and his thoughts.
Just cheat.
Yeah, can we get your notes? Like
And then from that episode from Reader Warrior, welcome back, Nick. As someone who's never read EU related stuff, for his Star Wars characters never in a movie, I'll pick the war crime droid Chopper. What about the mother? And he does say, not in a movie, but we did see Rex in live action in Ahsoka.
We saw a clone. It was not confirmed to be Rex, and that really annoyed me. I really liked that part, but he was not confirmed to be Rex. I highly doubt he would be because he was down on his luck.
Also, I have to say, like after we had our discussion, I had to look it up. Rex was in a movie. He was in the Clone Wars movie.
Oh, okay. That one should not count even.
Get out.
I saw it in the theaters. That counts as a movie. That had a theatrical release.
But I love Clone Wars. I hated that movie. So I don't like counting it and not getting the Clone Wars characters because of that.
That's because, in all honesty, it should not have been a theatrical movie. If it was just 4 episodes of the show, it would have been fine. But making a theatrical movie was just weird. And Ahsoka was really bad in that movie. At least
my expectations were so fucking high on that thing.
At least after that movie, that movie was the only time she ever used that dumb nickname Sky Guy for Anakin. After that, they dropped that, which was good.
It took a long time for me to warm up to Ahsoka after that.
Yeah, that Sky.
And now they're doing their best to make sure that you have your initial feeling again, Sheta.
If it zooms up on freaking Rosario Dawson, she's like, yeah, Sky Guy. We were best friends.
I would have so much respect for that line. That might win me back.
All right, and then chapter 54. The Tower and Crown logo, you say? Those words sound familiar. How does Wit know the name? How does Wit know the name Ada Nauseam then?
I don't fucking know, man.
Or maybe Joe saying Boash is Hoyd.
Oh my no.
I didn't know Hoyd was so buff.
If Hoyd is Rip Hunter, who are his legends? Rules dictate they have to be people of semi-importance, but also wouldn't drastically affect the time stream if they disappear.
Oh my god. You made me want to put thought into this that I'm not going to put in right now.
Do it, Justin. I did it for the ponies. Now you have to do this.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. Come back with the list.
Dear Lord.
I have some good suggestions.
Yeah, maybe. I think you should do it then.
No, that's your thing, though. You love legends. He's thinking.
Justin. Wait, Justin, why do you think Kaladin is going to go full Kelsier on the Light Eyes?
Because I think that would be one of the most interesting ways to resolve this plot, where he does go that way. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen anymore as of this week, because things have changed a lot. But when I did, I thought that would be such an interesting way to resolve this, because he would clearly regret it, because he just wants to save lives. If he wound up killing people for his bigotries, that would be one of the worst things that could happen to him. Probably the strongest way for him to learn the value of human life, no matter your eye color.
He does hate Light Eyes a lot, though.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we haven't really seen him in a position to do something about it yet, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He might kill that lady. That might be his first victim.
Victim.
A shawl?
That's not how I imagined it. I imagined it more like a war, not like he's going to become a serial killer.
He's gonna Mr. Sandman kill her.
Yeah.
All right, from chapter 55. Favorable mechanics and the death quote documentation theorizing? Yes, please. I recommend going back to chapter 4.
Ooh, okay. Maybe we'll take some notes.
And then, there are also those who helped brand Kaladin that know the truth.
Do they? Yeah, it was the guys who are with him. Yeah, they know. Yeah. But those got to be loyal men.
What? What was it? Who knows the truth?
Truth of Amaram and where he got his shard blade.
Oh, those guys? I thought they died too.
No, not the guys working with Kaladin. The guys working with
Oh,
Amaram.
his stooges. I see.
Stooges, yeah.
And chapter 56. To be fair, Kelsier and Doxin were pretty bigoted and were main protagonists.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Doxin was right all along.
Or Doxin. He's my secret favorite.
And we'll put him on the legends.
Oh, yes! That's a good one.
And from the theory segment. Because all shy, quiet boys in the back are either murderers or gay.
In my stories, they are.
What are you trying to say about me? Jesus.
I've had my theories about you.
All right. And then I guess one of you said that, I'm going to guess Sheta said that Sadeas went above and beyond. So it's like, above and beyond. His job was to investigate, and he recognized Dalinar was in the clear, not into him.
I don't know.
Don't
do that
give
for
her
my
ammo.
friend.
We killed this. It's dead. We don't need more ammo for it.
It's not dead. It's just lying in wake.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing with Sadeas and Amaram or other super honorable Light Eyes is that they don't see Dark Eyes as part of that. They aren't us, and therefore don't deserve our honor. Pity, maybe. The only ones who deserve my recognition and respect are those who I recognize to be like me, which to Sadeas would include Dalinar, even if he dislikes him, but wouldn't apply to a dark-eyed slave that did his job too well.
Yeah, I'm curious to see Sadeas' true philosophy. I don't know if I believe that for Amaran, because he did seem to have some kind of feeling for them. I think he took the armor for reasons that are dark. Like, when you see somebody as lesser and you kill them, in a way, it's less evil, you know? But when you kill somebody that you see as a person, it's obviously a lot darker. That's what I'm saying. I think that's his situation.
He didn't even remember Kaladin, like,
how many fucking
volunteering.
people do you think that he does this for in a year? You know, he vaguely remembered. He's seen millions of people.
I think the fact that he spared his life is enough to say to prove what you're saying. So
exactly, you would not fucking do that if you just thought of him as a thing, as just beneath you to that level. You'd
especially
be like,
when it's very dangerous to keep him alive. You know,
it is. I don't think that doesn't give me any sympathy for him. That actually gives me less sympathy. Like I'm saying, I would have more sympathy if he did see himself as better than him.
See, this is why I like Sadeas. He's not like that guy.
Could be. I'm curious to find out.
Yep, so those are the comments we'll go over today. So, if anyone out there who hasn't done before, if you want to do it, just feel free to either leave a comment on, Spotify and YouTube are the ones I can easily find it, or send us an email, cosmicchronicles@gmail.com. Any of those ways will be easy. All right. And so now looking forward to next week. So next week, same thing. We'll be reading 4 chapters, chapters 63 through 66, as we get ever closer to the end of this book.
Okay, so we're not quite there yet.
We have 3 more episodes left.
Okay.
Spoilers.
I told you last week there were 4 more left.
Yeah, but 3 is more exciting than 4.
You're like, yeah, but I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
It's okay. You'll forget for next time too.
Yep. So, you also just need to. You can just look at the book and see where the bookmark's at.
I purposefully don't look at the book while reading it, so I won't know how far I am to the end.
You don't even look at the words.
It's very difficult, but I manage.
I look at it with the side eye.
Yeah.
You can't read. Don't lie.
All right. So as I said, next week, chapter 63 through 66. And yeah, so everyone, go off, read those. And once you're done with that, what should you do?
Have some pie.
Yeah, go ahead. Go somewhere, pick up some pie. Make some at home yourself if you're good enough to bake a pie. If not, go somewhere, buy a good quality pie and have it.
Yeah, but make the pie from scratch, because that's a unique experience.
How many pies have you made from scratch?
Yeah, have you ever made a pie?
I've watched people make pies from.
What is this advice for somebody
It's
to make
always
a pie
fun to
that
watch
you're not
people
willing
make
to make?
pies, but I'm a terrible cook. So.
Well, everyone, you can learn. That's your mission this week. Learn how to make a pie. And send us pictures of your attempts at making pies.
We are not receiving a single picture of a pie. This is the dumbest bit of all time.
I like it.
Do it. We have a Blue Sky and a Twitter and stuff. And a Threads. You can do that. And
I will not be looking at these pictures and getting unsolicited pictures of quote pies from people.
Yeah.
I want to know if we'll get any. That's
Zero. I guarantee it.
all right. Yep. So that's it, everyone. Go off. Make your pie. Eat it. Enjoy. Hopefully it's delicious. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.